Understand that Cape State is not as homogeneous as people think. Yes, persons generally are, comparatively speaking, better off than others. But there are a number of persons that are hit significantly by COVID-19 that require a lot of attention. And so when I hear people speak sometimes, it's as if to say, these people safe already, these people good already. But no, at the end of the day, you have to still engage persons in this community because a lot of them are, like I said, business owners. They create employment.
They a lot of businesses would have been affected.
Absolutely. So when I hear people say, boy, you don't need to focus on Cape State, you don't need to go to Cape State, first of all, I listen to everybody, but I know that sort of rhetoric because these are still people. These are taxpayers, and a lot of these individuals. Yeah, and they create employment. I'm sure this guy came from, working on a lawn, getting some bread, some income, even if it's a Sunday. They employ a lot of people, and they still have issues. A lot of the times, we have had conversations with persons who believe that Cape State, some of the taxes or some of what they pay, they don't get it in return. I mean, they don't get the amount of government representation, that is commensurate with what they actually give. And it's something that I am always cognizant of. I make sure that I'm attuned to what their issues are, and I can tell you some of them. Of course, security, because of course the perception that everybody is extremely wealthy in this area. So whereas improvements have been made in terms of security in this area, because of course a lot of the residents have come together and employed security companies to drive around and that sort of thing, I as a parliamentary rep would want to go a little further in terms of using modern technology to provide security for the people in Cape State. I believe at the end of the day that we have all the capacity in the world to ensure that persons' livelihoods are better maintained without the physical aspect of it. We're talking about cameras in every corner of Cape State. If persons are willing to come together and pay something monthly, employing a security company to ensure that there's a bird's eye watch over all properties. And I've had conversations with persons that have said that these things are very feasible and they are cost effective to ensure that everybody who is living in the area is protected. Or at the very least, if somebody attempts to break and enter, you will catch the individual red-handed. So a more virtual security system can be employed in this area, and that's one of the things that I want to ensure that I partner with the various associations in that community to ensure that it's done. The other thing about Cape State is noise pollution. These people moved into this community because they wanted a more peaceful life.
Right.
And when you speak to some of them, there are parties sometimes during the New Year's, during the different times that they really didn't, bargain for in their community. So you have to ensure that you listen to their plight and ensure that that is something that you can deal with. There are a lot of animal lovers in this community. A lot of animal lovers. So animal rights, animal protection. I mean, veterinary services and all that sort of stuff. They would love to see more of that in our nation, and it's incumbent upon me as the parliamentary rep to take those issues seriously. People are very passionate about that in this community.
Right.
To ensure that you listen to them and you help them out with that.
And you bring their cause, whether it be in cabinet or in the parliament, that you bring their cause out so that their voices are heard.
That is absolutely very, very, very important. Good governance is something that Cape State people are very, very worried about. Simply because, again, these are individuals that are high taxpayers. And so they would want to know that they are going to be trusting the government to make better use of the resources of the country that they help garner. And, they would want to know that you are sensitive to how taxpayers' monies are being used.
Right.
That you're not going to exploit them. That good governance is a big part of their daily lives. They want to know that at the end of the day, they can trust the government, they can trust the parliamentary rep to do the right thing, to prioritize and that sort of thing. So a lot of those issues in Cape State you cannot just ignore, and I pledge never to ignore. That's for sure. And we have persons that are environmentalists in this community. persons who are very, very sensitive about our patrimony. These are persons that would make noise if you want to open a dolphin park at Pigeon Island. I mean, cabots and then the development,
Yeah,
I mean, along our shores. Exactly.
Into that. How do you find the people here are reacting to cabot?
Very disappointed. Very disappointed. I think the most disappointing thing was the statement that that was made to suggest that after all of this is already brokered, that the government of St. Lucia will then try to ensure that they be in dialogue with Cabot to ensure that there is beach access. Persons in this community, they actually laugh at this, and I mean, when I say laugh, they are upset about it, because these are things that you expected, that you as a parliamentary rep in the government would have expected to have been, you know, priority number 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
Because, I mean, the Amerindian remains in that community, and these things are supposed to be preserved. And of course, beach access is something that is dear to these people. So they want you to definitely know what you are doing as it pertains to these issues.
Now, and as I said, the consultation and stuff was after the fact that things had already begun in motion, and I think that's important, that consultation is done beforehand and not after you have already established whatever it is. Then you come and talk to people.
Absolutely. And again, a lot of lawyers, a lot of business owners, a lot of these individuals that would be part of, you know, the Chamber of Commerce, the SNGA, these individuals live in this community, and they're saying, hey, I have capacity and certain expertise. I mean, if you would engage me in governance, which is what we're supposed to have. We're supposed to have a government that engages stakeholders and persons from communities to ensure that the best decisions are made. But we seem to have a government that seems to think they know it all. And even when persons from Cape State and Rotary and Heights raise their concerns, it's almost like, oh my God, that speed hump. That was a speed hump that is painted. Not painted. You know? Yeah, you need to engage these individuals, and again, they don't want a government that operates in isolation. I don't think anybody wants that, but we've heard time and time that they are making those pleas to the current government, but they are not being used. You know, Cape State people are also complaining about roads as well.
Yes, that seems to be a recurring nightmare.
Yeah,
every part of the constituency will be hit.
Yeah, but again, because of the amount of economic activity that these individuals bring, I think it's unfair to ignore their plight. I just think it's just unfair. I think if at the end of the day I become somebody who owns a small business and I employ people and I move things forward, that it doesn't mean that the government should then ignore me. I don't believe in that. I believe that the equal representation is needed for persons in this community.
I think some persons have the perception that, oh, these people rich already, they can afford to fix their vehicles, or they can afford to fix their own roads.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong per se in perhaps asking the community to come together,
yeah,
and see what can be done. I mean, the Labour Party had a program where you come in, you put as much as you can together, and then the party gives the balance to actually execute the roadworks. I think a program like that could be implemented. There was one in Tuya. But at the end of the day, we need to continue to engage these people. That is for sure. These people are business owners who understand economics, and they understand that at the end of the day, the fundamentals of our country's economics could affect businesses in the future. And so they pay very close attention to budget debates, and they pay very close attention to, they understand that when you borrow and you continue to borrow 200 and something thousand, 200 and something million in 1 month, and another 50 million and another 80 million, and you're looking at, in a 3-month period, almost $400 million in borrowing, they understand that to pay it back, they will be taxed. Right. They understand that they will be taxed, their children will be taxed, and their children. And that would affect their business activities, because higher taxation would ensure that there is less disposable income.
Correct.
If there's less disposable income, there's less business activity. So I do not see when people, especially who know of the history of Cape State, they say it's more conservative. They say, oh, don't do any work in Cape State, don't go to Cape State because these people will not necessarily vote for you. I tell them, if these people are business owners and they deal with anything with economics, they would know that what we are doing right now is extremely dangerous and would affect them and their businesses. And so at the end of the day, they have to come to grips with what's going on and make a decision about where we're going as a country.
Well, borrowing is nice. It's a nice thing until you have to pay back.
Exactly.
And that's when it becomes a difficulty. You could borrow, you could live the life while you are borrowing, but when it comes time to pay back, you have to find ways and means to get that money paid, and the way that the government would do so would be through taxes.
Exactly. Yep. So it's just really, really, really crazy how things are going right now, and these people are paying very close attention. And at the end of the day, there is immediate gratification, and you try to teach your kids about immediate gratification versus deferred gratification. And they seem to have a government that is all about right now the immediate gratification, and the consequences would have to be borne by persons in the future. And this is extremely scary. Extremely.